That's exactly right. So welcome everyone and thanks for having me today. I'm talking to you about digitalization for energy utilities, and I'm pretty proud to have the longest presentation name in today's sessions. It's how we are expanding our portfolio with a SaaS solution and GitOps-first architecture. So pretty long presentation title. Let's dive right into it. Our company is a fairly small company in Switzerland. We are about 40 employees, but we have been founded almost 30 years ago, so we are not a new company necessarily. We do have workloads in AWS since more than 10 years already, but rather small workloads in the analytics area. But things changed heavily or drastically about a year ago when we launched our new SaaS offering. And so, I want to talk to you about this new offering. This is our product portfolio today. Our customers are managing energy networks, so power grids, and we offer them a solution from the whole life cycle, basically, for a power grid, from planning to implementation, operations, and maintenance. Up until now, we just delivered the software to our customers and they run it on their own infrastructure. This is what the software looks like. So it's a power grid network that is managed in different client applications. We have web browser, desktop client, and mobile applications. And you can see different representations of such an electric network, as well as real-time monitoring built into that, thanks through smart meter information. But speaking of customers, these are a subset of our customers. Those are the biggest, largest energy providers in Switzerland. Chances are that you are customers of them as well, from Canton of Bern to Lucerne to Zurich, the city of Zurich, etc. So what they're facing today, so let me tell you a quick story before we dive into the technical details. The story I'm about to tell is the challenges that they're facing today, or very recently and for the next 25 years. Not only in Switzerland, but also across Europe, basically, there is the goal to have a net zero target by 2050. So in 25 years from now, there should be no more greenhouse gases emitted. And so this is a huge challenge because, among other things, we will most likely, through estimations, need to increase the solar power production 10 times in the next 25 years. Increasing solar power means we have to install solar panels or photovoltaic systems pretty much everywhere we can. And so this is a number from the Canton of Bern. So BKW have up until now connected almost 30,000 solar or PV systems to their network. That's usually not a big deal. So in 5 out of 6 cases, that's pretty easy. The application is being reviewed, the PV system is being connected, and everything works fine. But in 15% of the cases, things get a little bit hairy. So 15% doesn't sound like a whole lot. So we switch from Canton of Bern to Canton of Zurich, where we are here right now. And just to give you a few numbers, they install a couple hundred new PV systems to their network every week. And just reviewing the application takes hours or even days. So every one of our customers has a small team that is just reviewing those applications and calculating everything that needs to be calculated. So it's a very time-intensive progress. But there's an even bigger challenge, and this is where things get even more difficult. I'm not sure if you are aware of, but connecting all those new PV systems to the network is a big problem because already now 10% of our transformer stations and transformer circuits, they can't take any new load. So they are at capacity right now, and if you want to connect your own, if you have a house and build your own PV system, chances are you can't connect your system to the network. And that number will only increase. Estimations from the EKS, Canton of Zurich, is that this number goes up to 40, almost half of the transformer circuits can't take any new load in 10 years from now. So the running gag, so it's not actually a gag, but what we're hearing from that specific customer is, this is a real case actually. There is a nice neighborhood. Don't want to tell you where it is, but really nice neighborhood. They estimate that roughly half of them will have solar power systems on their roofs. And the question really becomes, we need a new transformer station here, which swimming pool we're going to replace. So this is the challenge we have today as a society in order to achieve that carbon neutrality by 2050. So our customers, BKW, EKZ, DWZ, they have huge challenges, the energy transition that they want to support and move forward with decentralized producers. So consumers are producers as well, depending on how much the sun is shining. Electric vehicles are connected to the network. They also act as batteries as well. So it's a hyper complex system that is coming from like top-down system, from power plants to the end consumer, into like almost a neural network where everything is connected to each other and everything is producing energy and consuming energy at the same time. And yeah, let's not forget, power grid infrastructure is also critical infrastructure. So if things go south, or actually happened in the south a couple of weeks ago, in Spain, there was a major outage. They still don't know to that day why this happened, but this is then what our customers are dealing with. It's like super important. So driving the digital transformation in the energy industry is what we are here for, the NIS AG is here for. And so we decided to expand our product portfolio that you can see here. It's the same slide as before, or the same chart, with a cloud operations piece. So that's our SaaS business. We introduced 2 new offerings, pretty much the same thing technology-wise, but we introduced that so we can tell our customers, you don't need to patch your service anymore. You don't need to think about buying new servers for 120,000 Swiss francs. We do that for you so you can focus on your core activities and your challenges that you're facing today. And not only that, but we are now in a cloud environment where we are ready for the challenges I just talked about. If you need more load, you just scale up. If you need new services, you introduce them. And so much more flexibility and agility. And so that was our journey over the last couple of years. We have moved our legacy Grails applications that was running on JBoss to a fully containerized, not fully, but I'll get into that in a few minutes. A containerized Spring Boot application on AWS EKS. Yeah, that wasn't really a lift and shift. That was pretty much a complete refactoring. And so we didn't do that alone. Marco already mentioned it a few minutes ago. Our partners, especially AWS and Copit, are helping us tremendously in that journey from the legacy on-prem environment to the cloud native environment. And we also pretty much have re-implemented our whole pipeline. We like security is super important, as you can imagine, with power grid networks. So we introduced or expanded our pipeline with Docker, Scout, with SonarQube, running things in Kubernetes. And then I think most importantly, especially for today, is the pipeline that we will, or I will highlight also in a few moments. So yeah, we're, for a small company, we're pretty proud of what we achieved just from a tech stack perspective. So up until now, I told you that we've been using AWS services for more than 10 years, but we only run like 4 different AWS accounts, one for the customers, one for development, and 2 others. So pretty manageable. But introducing this SaaS solution for our customers means we will easily or rather quickly scale up to 40, 50, 60 AWS accounts. We need to have separate accounts for production, non-production obviously, but also for different customers. So thanks to AWS Control Tower and AWS organizations, this helps us manage the whole ordeal pretty easily. And everything else we added also out of necessity. I don't think you are surprised to see those boxes on this slide. The workload account, I'll zoom into that on the next slide, but there's just an illustration that, yeah, besides the management accounts, I think there are 7 or 8 of them right now, we do have many workload accounts for running our applications. We use CloudWatch, but we also do then visualization with Grafana, like dashboarding and stuff, just as a side note. So yeah, this is what we're, I think, are most proud of. That's our representation of our workload account. And here you can see again our clients on the left-hand side, the mobile clients, the web browser, desktop client, and they hit the web application firewall as well as Shield standard, which is included anyway. And then, thanks Kevin for explaining AutoMeld, so I don't have to. We're now, since pretty much right now, we're also using AutoMeld. That was a recommendation from Copit. Really neat new feature. Then the Kubernetes cluster, we have 4 or 5 different pod types that we are running in here with our applications. Pretty straightforward. We have also switched from RDS Postgres to Aurora to store our data. So that was a recent switch as well. EFS, and then we have a small world database. So that's a proprietary database that we are leveraging from our partner GE Vernova. I didn't mention it on the previous slide, but that's an important partner as well. But their database, unfortunately, is still in the progress of being migrated to Postgres. So as of right now, this piece is like running separately on a file system. 2 other things that are, or one other thing that's running separately are third-party applications. So we, as the NIS AG, we are a bit faster than our partners. We still need for SEPM and GSA, those are third-party applications or partner applications. They still need to run on Windows. And this is an important fact because on the next slide you'll see how we issue that server. And then last but not least, we have the Amazon AppStream technology. Not sure if you're familiar with that, but that's a virtualization service from AWS that allows us to stream the desktop client to the end user. That service, unfortunately, is not available in Zurich yet. So I'm looking at the AWS folks here. We need that in Zurich because right now everything is in Frankfurt, which is unfortunate because we are a Swiss company with Swiss customers, but we can't use AWS location in Zurich. Not yet. I'm sure we'll get there. So that's what our landscape looks like. This is up and running, pretty cool stuff. How we get this up and running is very neat. So I told you now twice we're a small company, about close to 40 employees. And imagine that we have running 50 different AWS accounts and we need to patch them and upgrade them and deliver new software and whatnot. We had to automate the hell out of it because otherwise we would not be able to scale to that new demand. So from the get-go, we decided to have a single source of truth for all our configurations in GitHub, where in some repos also customers will have access to. So configuration changes can be done by customers themselves, which is pretty cool because that's also something they do now or have done the last 30 years because they were running it on their own environment. And so this is like a compromise where we let them change some configurations as well. And then we have 3 different IAC workflows. The first one being GitOps, the latest addition to our stack, so to speak. Also a recommendation from Copit. one of the people sitting here with Dario, they introduced Flux to us because now our Kubernetes cluster, EKS cluster, is fully private. There is no chance, no opportunity for anyone to get in. And so Flux is reconciling the Git repos and managing whatever needs to be done in the Kubernetes cluster. Then the special case I just mentioned moments ago, the Windows server that we still need, and maybe for another year or two, I don't know, depends on our partners. This one is being created and updated by an Ansible playbook, which is also stored in GitHub, and then AWS Systems Manager who does the magic here. Then, last but not least, everything else is Terraform based. Here we have a library available of 70 or 80 different modules, something like that, from Copit. They have pretty much everything we needed except AppStream, which is a pretty unique case. But with the push of the button, we can update or roll out the new AWS account with the Kubernetes cluster, with the EC2 instance, and everything else that's needed for running our applications.
And where is Jenkins in this picture? Because that was one of first.
Jenkins, we need to build the container images, or to build the software, so to speak.
You run OpenTofu where? On GitHub workflows or?
No GitHub Actions, no.
But where does the infrastructure pipelines run? Terraform pipelines?
Yes.
Not yet there, so
Yeah.
we're looking at those to see how we automate those.
Okay.
So something like scale or space like or so will be introduced there. So right now it's manual deployments because the setup of NIS is actually a single tenant per AWS account, or it's actually a tenant and an environment in a single AWS account, and that's not something that changes all the time. So it's a small number of customers with a small number of accounts, but multiplied by that, it's about 50 accounts that need to be managed. And for that, right now, it's based on manual deployment with OpenTofu, Terraform, and in the future, potentially some pull request automation will be introduced.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then, Aurora, serverless or not?
Yes. So not up until now, Postgres, RDS Postgres, and now we are, I'm not sure if you have run it on Aurora already, but this is as we speak, basically. So yes, Aurora serverless, but no experience yet whatsoever. Yeah.
Like coming to support, Andreas, because I'm practically in the project.
Yeah.
I'm just curious about the experience of it.
No experience yet. Yeah.
Serverless and not. So.
Yes. So NIS has so far used a stack that was great, but we introduced a lot of new capabilities like Aurora Serverless v2 and OpenTofu and GitOps principles, and doing basically a rehashing of the great things that NIS was doing, but in an even more cloud-native approach. And so for Aurora Serverless v2, we have been running it for 3 years. So we have about, 20 customers or so that are productive with Aurora Serverless v2 for MySQL and Postgres. And that works fantastic. So if you have the choice today to choose RDS or Aurora Serverless v2, always go Serverless v2. So it runs fantastic. So it's fast, it's cheap, it's stable, it's just Amazon quality.
Ask me again in 6 months.
In 6 months, I will answer yours.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay, I'll ask you.
We'll find out by then.
Yeah. Wonderful.
And our accountants too.
Yeah, so I think that's the last slide. Very important aspect of our solution for our customers as well as connectivity. a power grid is connected to all sorts of SAP, CRM and ERP systems like SAP and others. So super important. Billion-dollar companies, our customers. So there are a lot of systems going on, and so integration's very important. And I just want to touch on that our solution, also thanks to AWS, can be connected to, as you probably know already, but through private link with other customer accounts. But even more important, we now also have the ability to connect to their own networks if they store their data in their own network, or any other cloud provider through site-to-site VPN and gateways. So we just installed that 2 times over the last couple months, and so works like a charm. All right, hope I'm still in time. This is my last slide. So I did talk to you about our customers, their challenges, our journey, and our technical solution. I hope that was interesting. You took something away, and thanks for having me.
I got one question,
Yeah.
not technical, but what does actually your SaaS product do? I mean, you understand, I understand the challenges and everything, but is it some sort of like observability on the grid, or like what value does it bring to your customers?
They know where all the cables are. So all the geolocation of all cables, their type, transformer stations, everything is stored in our system, so they actually know what is connected with what. And if they dig into the mud, they know where to find it. And what we also now have on top of it is all the energy calculations. So how much more loaded, how much more capacity can be transmitted.
Is there some sort of IoT involved, but
yes, smart
that's
meters.
taken
Yeah.
care of by the customer? Or?
Yes, smart, yeah. Customers are
So
delivering the data. We don't own their data, we just process, manage, store, and process it. Yeah.
But you're not providing the endpoints for the smart meter?
No.
Okay, that's still with the energy companies.
Mach weiter, als die dus als swappen.
Yeah, that's really, it's their data, their smart meters. We just do the magic behind it. Yeah.